Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the next episode of Battle Through the Heavens on the 1991 Review YouTube channel. At the end of episode 157, after Xiao Yan left the Heavenly Tomb, he immediately received bad news upon learning that his comrades had returned to the Starfall Pavilion. Without delay, bidding farewell to Sun Er, he immediately returned to seek out Elder Yao to inquire about the situation. Upon learning of the Burning Flame Alliance's predicament, he immediately set off to return. Time passed quickly, and not long after, Xiao Yan was now on a warship with many Dozun powerhouses, returning to the Jiama Empire. As soon as the warship landed, a person looked at Xiao Yan and said, "Young Pavilion Master, the spatial wormhole can only bring us this far. We just need to head northwest and pass through a few checkpoints to reach the Burning Flame Alliance's territory. Then we should depart. We can gather more information about the current situation along the way. Everyone, conceal your aura. Do not act rashly." Hearing this, everyone nodded. Afterward, with Xiao Yan leading the way, everyone simultaneously leaped out of the warship and headed into the distance. At the same time within the Burning Flame Alliance, everyone was now gathered, discussing their plans. In the center, Medusa's voice rang out, saying, "Everyone, the Lion Rock Sect's army has approached. Today, they're still only launching probing attacks, but perhaps in no more than 3 days, they will officially make their move. The Lion Rock Sect's power is too strong. The number of powerhouses who have reached the Dozun realm far exceeds ours. If we engage directly, we will certainly be no match. If there truly is no other way, then we must fight to the death. We cannot advance, nor can we retreat. If it continues like this, it's better to settle it once and for all. There's no need for that just yet." According to Little Fairy Doctor and the others, Third Brother will return to the Burning Flame Alliance during this period. As soon as these words were spoken, the Great Hall immediately became abuzz, and all eyes turned to Xiao Ding, who was seated in a wheelchair. As for Xiao Ding, he simply looked out into the vast space, letting time pass. Meanwhile, Xiao Yan was now rushing with everyone towards the Burning Flame Alliance's encampment. While flying, one person looked at Xiao Yan and said, "Young Pavilion Master, according to the latest intelligence, the Lion Rock Sect has about 30 Dozuns, while the Burning Flame Alliance only has 10. How many individuals in the Lion Rock Sect have reached the 6-star Dozun realm or above? There are 8, and among those 8, have reached the 8-star Dozun level. Let's go. We must speed up even more. Let's try to reach Blazing Desert Gate just as dawn breaks." As Xiao Yan's words ended, everyone immediately accelerated, simultaneously soaring into the distance. At the same time, on the city wall, a large number of Burning Flame Alliance powerhouses had gathered, and everyone's face looked incredibly serious. As everyone gazed into the distance, they saw only dark clouds accompanied by thunder and lightning covering the entire sky, making the area seem to darken. Suddenly, spatial cracks opened up one by one. From within them, warships, carrying a terrifying aura, began to appear. In just a fleeting moment, hundreds of warships formed a mighty army, covering the sky and surrounding Blazing Desert Gate. Looking at them, Medusa coldly said, "So, they have finally begun their assault? Kai Lin, if we can't hold out then, you must take Xiao Xiao and leave. That's right, this is Third Brother's child. Absolutely no mistakes can be made." Hearing the two speak, Kai Lin gently shook her head. She tilted her head and looked beside her, where a pretty little girl with a mischievous face was playing. Seeing her mother look at her, Xiao Xiao chirped, "Mommy, don't be afraid. Uncle said my daddy will come back." Hearing this, Medusa smiled faintly, then turned around, looking into the distance and murmuring softly, "Will he really come back?" He entered the Heavenly Tomb. Considering the time, he has already left the ancient realm. I believe he will arrive here soon. Hearing this, Medusa turned around. She went to Xiao Xiao and hugged the child tightly. With a hint of heartache, she looked at Little Fairy Doctor and said, "If Blazing Desert Gate is breached, you must take her and leave. Promise me you'll take good care of her." Hearing these words, Little Fairy Doctor was slightly stunned, and in the end, she could only silently nod. Beside them, Xiao Ding's voice softly responded, "Kai Lin, over the past few years, you've worked so hard because of your connection with the Xiao family. If Third Brother returns, I will definitely make him marry you. Big Brother is absolutely right. If that kid returns this time, this matter must be done immediately." As Xiao Li's voice faded, Medusa had already released Xiao Xiao and turned around. She coldly said, "First, we must deal with this immediate trouble." As her shout ended, in the distance, from within continuous dark clouds and lightning, a leader of the Lion Rock Sect emerged, scoffing, "Medusa, have you thought it through? Surrender, or let the Burning Flame Alliance be utterly annihilated." In response, Medusa coldly retorted, "The Burning Flame Alliance only has fallen warriors, no cowards who surrender. As long as you agree to submit to the Lion Rock Sect and hand over Xiao family members, I guarantee that not a single person in the Burning Flame Alliance will be harmed. As his words ended, Kai Lin merely glanced, then let out a soft, icy command saying, "Activate the formation." Upon hearing Kai Lin's command, continuous low shouts echoed, and in an instant, a series of large cannons appeared on the city wall. At that moment, everyone was brimming with fighting spirit, ready to resist the enemy without any fear. Seeing that the situation could not be resolved through words, the 9 Heavenly Venerate, a demoness, now revealed herself. Sitting inside a warship, she indifferently said, "Shirtan, no need for more words. Don't let a woman ruin important matters. 9 Heavenly Venerate, you worry too much. With the Burning Flame Alliance's current strength, even if they had wings, they couldn't escape. If anything unfortunate happens, you know the consequences." As these words ended, Shirtan looked at Medusa and shouted, "Medusa, I gave you one last chance, but you ignored it. All forces, listen to my command, attack." As his words ended, all the warships began to open fire. In just a brief moment, hundreds of cannonballs had already shot towards the fortress where the Burning Flame Alliance was stationed, immediately throwing the place into chaos. At that moment, with each resounding explosion, dust and debris filled the air, causing many civilians to scramble and flee. Witnessing this scene, Medusa immediately ordered her army to open fire. In an instant, inside the central position of the city, all powerhouses channeled their energy, and the surrounding energy gathered and flowed into great cannons. Finally, with immense power, each cannonball was fired. Immediately, loud booming sounds echoed, making the place seem to tremble. Warships struck by the cannons continuously reeled, each one falling in succession. At this point, the army on the warship swiftly flew out and immediately charged toward the city wall, engaging in a chaotic battle. In a flash, a terrifying assault had begun. At that moment, the place seemed to descend into chaos, continuous clashing sounds echoing. The battle had only just begun but was incredibly intense. However, due to their weaker forces, the Burning Flame Alliance suffered immense losses. At this point, Hai Buodong could no longer remain calm. Leading his entire army, he roared. His ice spear in hand immediately swung out, and he rode an ice dragon straight toward the enemy to engage in battle. As soon as he made his move, each of his punches sent an opponent falling, and the scene of Brother Hai at that moment was incredibly cool. Witnessing Elder Buodong's power, everyone on the city wall also simultaneously made their moves. First was Heavenly Flame Venerate. He remained as carefree as ever, fighting and enjoying himself, yet his flames were still enough to incinerate all his opponents. Nearby, Qinglin also took action, bringing her Dozun puppets. She immediately controlled them to charge out, launching thunderous attacks that sent the Lion Rock sect members falling like cut straw. In this way, the battle descended into chaos. Glancing around, one could hardly distinguish between friend and foe anymore. At that moment, the battle reached its most critical point. As attacks collided, sparks continuously flashed, igniting the fierce flames of war. The more they fought, the more bloodthirsty both sides became. At this point, Medusa looked at Little Fairy Doctor and said, "Little Fairy Doctor, Xiao Xiao is completely in your care. Protect her well." Hearing this, Little Fairy Doctor sighed faintly and nodded gently. Standing beside her, Xiao Xiao pouted, sensing the unusual atmosphere. Seeing this, Medusa said, "My good child, don't be afraid. Wait for Mother for a moment." Saying so, she gently stroked Xiao Xiao's head, then immediately turned around. In a flash, her figure shot up, holding a leather whip in her hand. She lashed straight toward the opponent in front of her. Seeing this, Shirtan immediately swung his saber and launched a few strikes, but unfortunately, Medusa managed to evade them. In an instant, the two had clashed dozens of times. In midair, the two fought while exchanging fierce verbal taunts. Each time they collided, streams of powerful chi and spatial cracks continuously erupted. However, when the 9 Heavenly Venerates saw that the Burning Flame Alliance powerhouses had all made their moves, she immediately ordered her subordinates behind her to act. 2 dark shadows instantly transformed into black mist and disappeared. A moment later, they charged towards the Burning Flame Alliance powerhouses and engaged in an incredibly fierce battle. Standing on the city wall, Little Fairy Doctor desperately wanted to act, but Xiao Xiao was in her arms, and she couldn't let her be in danger. Just then, Qinglin's hurried voice rang out, saying, "Sister Little Fairy Doctor, quickly take Xiao Xiao and leave. This place can't hold out much longer." At the same time, in the distance, Heavenly Flame Venerate also shouted, "Little Fairy Doctor, go quickly." Hearing this, Little Fairy Doctor immediately darted away. However, at that very moment, a Soul Palace member, with a covetous look on his face, looked at Xiao Xiao and said, "This child's soul power is truly powerful." Saying so, he immediately charged towards Little Fairy Doctor while reaching his hand straight towards Xiao Xiao to grab her. Fortunately, little fairy doctor unleashed a palm strike and sent him flying. However, surrounding her, several other Soul Palace members also discovered them and immediately encircled her. Because of this, she had to push Xiao Xiao toward Xiaoli. However, just as Xiaoli was about to reach Xiao Xiao, a Soul Palace member was faster, snatching Xiao Xiao into his hand, shocking everyone. At this point, the old man loudly said, "Medusa, surrender quickly, or don't blame this old man for being cruel." However, as soon as these words ended, a spatial rift, appearing from who knew when, opened up from within it. A hand immediately reached out, gripped his neck tightly, and squeezed. Next, with a single crack, that person immediately died. Then, as he gasped for breath and turned around, only Xiao Yan's fierce face appeared. Without holding back, Xiao Yan cradled Xiao Xiao in his arms and threw the other person's corpse far away. Then, before everyone's astonished gaze, he coldly said, "Everyone, don't worry, I have returned." And what exciting events will unfold next in episode 158? Follow the 1991 Review YouTube channel for more details. Everyone, goodbye and see you again.